When you look at a painting, what do you first see? Do you see the subject, what is literally painted on the canvas? Do you see the brushstrokes and technique used to create it? Do you see the symbolism of the piece? Or, less likely, do you see the painter themselves and the world they lived in? Understanding art takes more than knowing the subject. You must acknowledge the human behind it. My name is Charlie Parsons, and we're going to understand Saturn devouring his son, and how it reflected the mind of a dying man in a nation he thought to be devastated. First, the subject matter. Saturn, or his Greek name, Cronus, had killed his father, Uranus, and taken over as ruler of the world. It was prophesied that, like his father before him, Cronus would be overthrown by one of his children. So, when his wife, Rhea, bore him children, he knew exactly what to do. He ate them whole. Each child, from eldest Hestia to youngest Poseidon, was taken just as they were born into Cronus's gullet. One child was saved, however, and kept in a Cretan cave by his mother, Rhea, and raised by his grandmother, Gaia. Cronus was fed a swaddled stone instead. This was Zeus, who would grow and free his siblings by forcing his father to vomit them up, leading to Cronus's imprisonment in Tartarus and Zeus becoming ruler of the universe. Goya didn't paint this event. In any case, he didn't paint the event like stories say. Goya's Saturn does not swallow this child. He bites and rends and tears at their muscle and bone, chewing on the tendons. His mouth is around the elbow of the child, having already eaten on their arms and their entire head. Rivulets of blood run down the child's arm and shoulders, down their back into Saturn's tightly gripped hands. He looked like he could tear their spine apart. And then, upon closer examination, we see that the victim isn't a newborn. This person knew what was happening to them. They are grown and fully aware of what was happening to them. Saturn is hunched over, like he was trying to hide what was happening. His eyes are wild and his posture broken and unnatural. He looks like a monster discovered during a meal. Saturn devouring his son was one of 14 paintings called the Black Paintings. All of them were painted in Goya's home in Madrid, La Quinta del Sordo, or the Deaf Man's Villa. Must have been coincidence or bad luck, as the estate was named after a previous owner, but Goya was deaf as well due to an unknown illness. Goya painted the black paintings directly onto the walls of his home, with 8 upstairs and 6 downstairs. Saturn was found in the dining room, perpetually chewing. Many historians suspect Goya was losing his mind at the time, due to his illness and the political turmoil of Spain at the time. Spain had just suffered through a long war, the War of Independence. The French had invaded, sparking Goya's The Disasters of War, another grotesque portrayal of the Spanish life. During the War of Independence, the Cortes drafted the Constitution of 1812, which was shown to the new king, Ferdinand VII, who swiftly rejected it. The Constitution was written on the principles of freedom of the press, free enterprise, and sovereignty, and tried to establish a constitutional monarchy within Spain. The lack of direction within the government and chaos that plagued Spain plagued Goya, and followed him into his home and art, like a disease. Goya painted a mad tyrant, desperately trying to hold on to his power by any means necessary. Saturn eats the one he was supposed to protect, betrays the one he was meant to serve. He eats his child. Goya watched as his country failed him again and again. He watched as his body and mind failed him again and again. All we have of this painting is a bit of fear and history to build our interpretations from. All of the black paintings were found long after Goya's death, so he never gave them names. We can only presume that Saturn devouring his son is actually Saturn devouring his son. And we know that Goya didn't care. He never meant or intended for any of the black paintings to be seen by the public. Maybe he painted them as an escape, as a release of pure fear and hatred and superstition onto canvas. or in this case, wall, so that it was out of him. Or maybe he painted it as a warning, to him or to others. Of the black paintings, I find Saturn the most terrifying. The image itself may be gruesome, but the reasoning behind it is far scarier. Learning what was going on in an artist's time and what was going on in their own lives would cover some of the most beautiful, gruesome, awe-inspiring, and grotesque revelations about art.